Hello everyone, as we get back into EU5 here at the Kingdom of Poland, I am playing as King Kazimierz III Piast, who is known as the Peasant King. His eldest son, Crown Prince Wladyslaw, is 15 and he will be turning 16 here in June, I believe, or is it July? Yes, the 1st of June. He does have the younger brother, Sibowet, who they could both potentially have better educations. Not going to worry a ton about that. So one of the things I have done in recent days when it came to EU5 was, I was kind of watching around, right? Because I know I play at a slower speed, 2 times speed than probably what, is really enjoyable for most people. And I understand that. We do have 442.99 ducats, or ranking 9.15 currently, 12 stability, 926 people, 385 monthly, 86 legitimacy, 28 prestige, negative 0.13. 0.95 diplomats, no war exhaustion, 187 manpower. Is, what buildings, what reforms, all of that, am I missing? How can I play the game better, maybe more efficiently? And so one of the things we are going to do is we're going to take these two improving back. We could join in the First Golden Chagatai War. We're still not going to do that. We could do that because it was a rival. We are working to build a masonry, expanding a wool farm in Zwolen and a fruit orchard in Mistau, because we are a little bit short on fruit. Wool we're really not short on, and masonry we're not entirely short on either, but you do need masonry for a lot of buildings, especially in the early part of the game. We do have press Casus Belli against Luxembourg servers in Bohemia. We're not going to do anything. We do have a religious action that Placitem Regium, the Pope has meddled in the affairs of our country for far too long. The authority of the crown should not bend its knee before the papal seat. The papal bull will only be in effect when the government gives its approval. We're not going to do that. Now, we may or may not end up, going Calvinist or Lutheran or whatever when the Reformation does happen and the split with Roman Catholicism, but we're not going to go down the road of antagonizing the Pope just yet. We are going to take this guy and say, instead of increasing control, now that is important, we are going to try to assimilate Pops into our culture here in Greater Poland, which of course was the seat of the rebellion, right? I do like this screen. That's kind of cool. Now, I don't know exactly what the we're going to go for... Now, Kaliz is 99% Pops, Greater Polish. Posen, which has the most, obviously, is 85.89. But we are going to try to go to Posen. We're going to try to assimilate them into our culture because they are a little bit unhappy, and a lot of that has to do with... Some of it's because we are short fish in the market, but some of it's also because of the events, most likely because of the Civil War. We can't call it Sem. We'll, of course, call it Krakow. Farming estates, horse farms in Wilkie, and a sturdy grain in Grujaz. We could go for that. So that'll be the Sem we will pay for, down 8.59 ducats. The Black Death, I think, is more or less essentially over with, but we can see it's still affecting the economy and the nation. You can see here, right, this is kind of what I was talking about a moment ago, where it comes to the unhappiness of the people, most of that from events lacking fish, negative 2.7, but the events are negative 38%. Now, one of the things we can do is... use our cabinet to try to put down, rebellions and revolts. So that's something we can also do. So we are closing in on the day where our son and heir is going to become 16 years old, so he will be a legal adult, so we'll no longer have to worry about having a regency, at least if he's the one who ends up, living, and taking over for Kazimierz eventually. We are missing employees. You can see we have 104 months before the marketplace deposit will be fully staffed. 32 months for the Papermakers Guild at Tarun. Similarly, we're 24 months for sand and loads. 260 workers missing for, is that beeswax? Yeah, beeswax. 77 months in Samothi for that. 35 in Krakow. Kazimierz, 25 months for legumes. Okay, because we used to have 1.4 billion people. Now we have 926,000. Which is not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's got up about 100 and some thousand since, the worst outbreaks of the plague. So, and there we go. Crown Prince Wladyslaw Piast has reached the age of 16, and he is our ruler, son and heir to Poland and Arankla. We are throwing him a party that he can get to work. He is unmarried. You can see this number here has to deal with the power of the people or the country that he is going. Now, Wallachia is interesting because obviously that's a foreign nation and, a princedom. However, they are at war with Bulgaria. Hungary has a casus belli on them. And we are allied with the Hungarians. So I don't know that I'd really want to do that. There's Therese de Bourbon, who's a 50, 45, and 52, and a 92, so we would not lose a ton of, we would gain more prestige there. County of Evero, here with Margit, who is a 73, 64, and 60. But I believe, yes, Maria von Mecklenburg is a 91, 56, and 54. And we will gain 4.67 prestige, and they'll gain 6.83. So Maria has married Wladyslaw. We're 27 days away from expanding the farms in Zwolen, 172 masonry in Proswitz, and of course 120 in Mistal with the fruit orchard. So one of the things that I did discover as well, besides just the different buildings, right, and how they worked and how they benefited the nation, we are going to go here and we're going to stop. Okay, so we can repeal the segregate the infected. All right, so we have done that, and then we can gain a little bit of burger and lower strata happiness by doing that. But what I was going to say is here in our capital province, we're losing 13 plague as punishment. The anti-Zarpanos are at least so claim the ever-growing groups of flagellants that wander through the countryside processioning and preaching of apocalyptic events that come as punishment for our pride, which only through Christ's ire as flagellation we can dispel. While originally having the support of the church, these groups have strayed too far from doctrine to be sanctioned anymore. The Dutch at once so believe they must be stamped out to prevent from undermining stability. The lower classes, yep, that's fine. Even though we are the peasant king, I don't feel like that's a smart policy, right? Self-flagellation. Get parliament location, so we get losing 13.83 food because none of the provinces or territories here in the province produce any food. You can see negative 29 food in Krakow, negative 13.83 total in the province, 272 out of 1,100. So as somebody told me, because I asked because I was confused initially how this was going to work, and you have a slider down here for food. I don't know. Like, if we go here, right? Let's just stay there. We could also spend more money on stability. All right, so that's 0.04. So when we get into August, it'll be curious as to see what happens with the food situation in Krakow. Because that is the only province, we'll go in here to our goods, and I'll show you, like, the only province we have that has a food issue is Krakow, which is our capital, which is obviously less than good. I mean, I am happy that we've had a long-living monarch and that we haven't had a lot of stability hits and things like that because of an early death at a regency. However, we don't have enough diplomats to build up the spy network in the Teutonic Order. So the two buildings that I was kind of instructed on, one of them was, I believe it was just like the temple, right? Max literacy for the clergy plus 5% control, 5% unrest, negative 2.5%. A temple is a place of worship dedicated for the religious duties of the clergy. Although temples can come in different shapes and forms depending on the local religion, its purpose remains all the same. So you can see it requires a little bit of glass, a little bit of cloth, a little bit of paper, a little bit of copper, a little bit of tools, and a little bit of beeswax. But control is how you get manpower, levies, attacks. So as the video I watched pointed out, that is actually a really huge thing. The town demands seed of the Seb. The town of Posit has grown rich and prosperous, and the people there are disappointed that they have not been chosen as the seed of the current Seb. The representatives of the Posit demand compensation and guarantee from us, securing their interests for the future. They are threatening to leave if their demands are not granted. We will give them a parliament seat. They will gain 10% estate satisfaction. I believe that's the priest class. The commercial class again, sorry. And we gain 25%. So, the temple, that's one of the big ones. The other one that they mentioned, the urban parliament seat. Okay, so we just heard about that. Was it the stockade? It might have been the stockade. Because it wasn't the mission. Sheep farms, lumber tools that it produces wool. Okay. I think it might have been the stockade. Unrest, negative 2.5%. Possible nobles plus 5, 4 level plus 1. Noble no power. Was it the stockade? I don't feel like it was a stockade. I know it wasn't a castle. It was a military building, though. So, the bailiff, that's what it was. Local nobles power plus 100%, proximity plus 220. Right, because the proximity to the capital is a thing when it comes to control and just, distance and all that. So, right, so again, when we look at our control, it's really down here. Like, although in Naue Targ, we don't have much control. They 9%, we have 5% here, 12% in Pazin, right? 9 in Serdaz, 15 in Wilun. So actually, I think what we're gonna do is what would it cost here in Sardaz, a sturdy grain +2. It has a rural cloth maker. So we could build a cathedral, and a monastery doesn't do what a temple does, though. Irrigation does help when it comes to the productivity of farming. That will be something I think we'll definitely do. Why can't we build any temples? Can't build a temple in a rural settlement. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's a little disappointing, but it does make sense. So up here at Pazin, okay, we already have one temple. And we can't build another one. Okay. I'd imagine at Krakow we have a temple. I mean, I don't know. But, yes. So we can't what about in Tarun? Yep, they've got a temple there too. So we can't build any more temples. It's just kind of interesting. So never mind that initial thought I had about trying to improve our control. Now, if we go here to proximity. Is at 4.82%. Now that has the following effects, has to do with control as well. So in Sardaz, can we build a was it the bailiff? Yes. Now it would need paper, tools, weaponry, and stone. So we're building a bailiff in Sardaz. Proximity is at 4.82%. I'll take 296 days. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes. The masonry is 64 days, 12 days for the fruit orchard. There's little Bohemian armies as they get ready to go to war. And the control obviously helps us in terms of, manpower, right? If we looked at our military right now, we have 0.13% army experience, 5.9% army tradition. We could trade a general. We could select objectives. Okay. Again, we have the 2 infantry regulars. We have 11,207 men. Our decision to focus on offense has led to many of our neighbors to look enviously and worthily at our glorious troops. We stayed ready to give our enemies a taste of cold steel. We gained 5 prestige and 5 army tradition. Nice. So we don't have enough masonry. Now that, in Proswitz, hopefully will, help out. The fruit orchard has been built. So we're losing 15.23 food, but we do have 612 out of 1,100 food. So I'm curious. I want to see exactly how much Food potentially comes in from what we've budgeted, right? Because we did budget our food, or budget some of the money to come into the food, and try to feed the people of our capital region. There was another building, I think, that he said that had to do with creating more diplomats, which obviously we need because we're having a hard time annexing our territories. The SEM agrees. Our far-beat states secure the production of many basic necessities. However, the owners of the lands promise greater yields if we invest more time and resources into them. See here, we can't. We're getting 0.2 each month because it's July 2,150. Currently, really not having any kind of an impact. We are still working on clerical literature, max literacy for the clergy plus 10%. So he's a 55, 64, 26, Duke Wladyslaw III, the Hunchback. And then this guy is a 96, 98, 29. He's really not that impressive. Like, he's a 26 in terms of what is that? Administrative diplomacy, 60, 73 militarily. I mean, we were told, right, that he had a well, he's obviously a member of the crown, but now he's better than this dude, stabilizing the country. So let's actually make our younger son, or our heir, part of the cabinet. The people of Skrizda despair as their families and neighbors succumb to the relentless outbreak of measles currently spreading throughout the area. Neighborhoods once bustling with activity now echo with worry and uncertainty. Unfortunately, there's little we can do to stop the spread of the disease into our territory. That is definitely unfortunate. Can we, like, fire him? Yep. Crown Prince Wladyslaw Piast has been assigned to the cabinet position of monarchy. We can see our country greatly benefit from this. The end of the Black Death. It seems that the last remnants of the plague have finally disappeared, although those of us that survived the curse are the blessed. 643,000 Polish citizens died, which is less than other countries, but obviously still more than what we would like. We can... 95 million people died. Worldwide, it's present in 2 locations. You can see we're losing negative 0.2 food monthly, or ducats, due to the food. We're giving the church a tithe. So this is going to be interesting to see how this impacts us. Right, 229 days. Let's see where we're at with our goods. We need gold. We need a little bit of marble. We have enough jewelry in the Krakow market is good. Tools are fine. What is this? Masonry is at +1. Producing 4.18. We need 3.18. Because that's what +1 means. We did lose some more stability. Just interesting. I'm not sure exactly. Was that just because of changing, the cabinet member, maybe? So I know people complain about, the manual trade. I like manually trading. I don't like automation. I feel like if I'm, the ruler or the ruling family of a country, that, obviously ministers and government runs without, the ruler having a hand in every single decision. I just feel like, from the game standpoint, it is something that I enjoy doing. As we're about to head into 1356, my younger son is 14. He was born in January of 1341, so 57. And he was gregarious, so diplomatic ability increased during their education. Clergymen have to be literate by the nature of the occupation, based on learning, interpreting, and spreading the religious doctrine. Therefore, their spiritual formation heavily relies on their access to religious doctrine and teachings, plus 10% max literacy for the clergy. So we are into 1356. I will try, I think, to get to 1357. So my one daughter is married to a gentleman who I don't think is actually really doing anything right now. He used to be the commander of my armies, but he kind of left that post and went to Hollich, and so I'm not really sure what he's doing. But he is the guy, the son of the former king of Bohemia, so that's why we have that claim. My younger daughter is married to the king of Hungary, so we are allies there. And then, of course, my eldest son is married to the House of Mecklenburg, or his wife is from the House of Mecklenburg, and so he is married. In theory, that's going to help us, make sure the dynasty survives, right? Gives them more time to have children. The younger brother, I don't know. And then there's, of course, Kazimierz is still the king, right? He has not yet passed away, which is good. He's been a pretty good king, but I do want to get more diplomats. Obviously, can spend more money in terms of trying to increase stability. Let's go in and look at where we're at with our technologies, late feudal relations, cultured overlordship. Both of those improve the loyalty of subjects and their opinion of us by 10 each. Diplomatic capacity, we'll go with that. Supply limit plus 10% is also part of it. Universal Christianity, monthly diplomats. Experience of the Baltic Crusades, sending our finest knights and nobles to the heathen areas of the Baltic or Mediterranean seas is a long tradition in our country. We will both fulfill the good work of Christ and bring the faithful or the faith to the unenlightened, and additionally we will gain experienced commanders for our armies. Sure. Medieval military plus 0.25 military morale. Title consolidation, annexation costs negative 10%. Local infrastructure, negative 2.5%. So those are the technologies we're going to go for right now. 9.28 decades. I'm not sure exactly if that's an increase or not. I don't know why they raised their army. Or because they're a vassal, and I'm not at war, but they raised their army. They definitely did. Negative 40.17 food. Negative 40.17. Now, granted, that is a lot because of the winter time, and I do love how the winter mechanic works. Right? I know some people complain about that, whatever, but to be honest, sometimes people just complain and complain. Oh no, we have a weather event. Wayward weather. Okay, well, the weather event left. Once we get to the capacity of the 1100 food in the Krakow area, we'll stop paying the food or buying the food, right? And then it'll go down. So we can build granaries and other buildings to try to increase the food stockpile size. I am going to look into potentially building irrigation, right? Because that could, as an agriculture nation, right? We have a lot of grain. We have a lot of, legumes, sturdy grains, wheats, being grown in Poland. If we played as Lithuania, again, that'd be another nation where agriculture could play a very vital role in our economy. And of course, just feeding our people, right? People need to have access to food, just at a very basic level. That would matter. I don't know that it would give me a ton of benefits, but you can see the rebels are getting at 0.2% a month. The same war they think they want us to come into developing the province we could do. We are going to crack down on the Schlapstowage Surgets. And that is what our son and heir is going to do. So we're trying to convert some of the people up here in the north, right, into lesser Polish culture. And then we're also trying to crack down on the rebels. We've already had one rebellion in what is, what's called Greater Poland. We don't necessarily need to have a second. So we have acquired Greater Polish and Posen. No, we don't want to become Greater Polish. What? We want to be Lesser Polish. Because we're Lesser Polish. We're trying to convert them to be of the Lesser Polish culture. That's interesting. Why would you tell me that we're acquiring greater now? Or maybe it just means we're acquiring people, people of the greater Polish culture into our culture. Maybe that's what it means. We still have 155 days left on the building of the bailiff, or 150. Yeah, 155 days. I could have sworn it was 155 and then it went up to 157, but I could be wrong about that. So I think we're probably going to play until my son comes of age in early January of 1357, and then we'll probably wrap it up at that point. Because it is 2 times speed, the game does run a little bit slow at that rate, and I'm not the Immensa Eternidad. For 10 years, institution growth plus 10%. Okay. I mean, I don't know that had a huge impact on me, but all right. I do think we lost. I don't know. I'm not sure if we lost people or not. It's plus 83. I don't know what that means. Does that mean 83 people? That would be my guess, but is that correct? I guess we'll find out once we get into May. Cabinet efficiency is at 14.84%. There are, of course, other buildings we could do that, the Royal Gardens and whatnot that will allow us to increase the cabinet efficiency. And having other towns, children get better education. We have a claim throne Casus Belli on Cirque and on Plock. Interesting. Beatrice de Bar. And Gustav Gozweski. Yeah, it's a subject, so we can't declare war on them. That's kind of what I thought. So, but interesting that the game gave me the option to, said, hey, we could claim the crown. Okay. And it's not friendly. Install new ruler. Okay. Yeah, we definitely lost a person. What culture? What are we simulating them into, though? Yeah, we're simulating them into our culture, but yet we've lost a... Huh? So we're trying to assimilate them into Lesser Polish, because that's what we are, correct? Yeah, we're Lesser Polish. But yet, we used to have 2,073 people of Lesser Polish culture, but now we have 2,072. So we lost a pop? Somehow? I don't know. The priests are building a settlement in Proswitz. So the rebels are going down by negative 0.3%. So that part's good. And, simply building a new town in, like, Lechia, I don't know if that would really... I mean, we could build a temple, which would help the control, okay, but I don't know if that really is going to be the way we want to go. Yeah, we just lost another 6% of 6 people. So... I don't know that we want to do this then. We don't need to convert them into our religion because they already are our religion. I'm going to try to just improve diplomatic relations. Apparently that's a just blanket action that our candidate can take. So we were definitely acquire the greater Polish culture, which is interesting because we're not greater Polish. Our kings and royal family are all lesser Polish, but it's kind of interesting to me. We have 65 days left on the bailiff, so 2 months there. They are building a settlement, which I'm guessing is going to be a town, right? You can see they have about 921 food. So you're losing 15 food right now monthly. Let's see how much food they actually purchase. As we headed into July. So they get an extra 19 food from what they're missing. I mean, that's interesting, right? You know, again, just with one province that needs food, kind of makes sense to not do it a ton. Again, we're 53 days away now, and Serda is on the bailiff, which again, if we go to buildings, I mean, a trade office would be nice. A bridge, proximity costs as well, but it does require 250 laborers. Bailiff requires 200 soldiers plus 100% noble power. But it does give plus 20 proximity to the source. A bridge gives plus or negative 5% proximity. So right now, if we go back to our proximity, that's the market. 4.83 is the current. Right, which gives us a control of 3.62%. Or max control of 3.62%. Which currently we have a control of 8%, so local crowd power, negative 91%, right? Levy size, negative 91%. Assimilation speed, negative, everything's negative 91%. So you can see where the control really matters, right? Crown power, levy size, everything, which obviously also impacts taxation. We can build a spy network now with the Teutonic Order, as we have an embassy established. Sorry, my my glasses got kind of tied up on my headphones, and I broke a pair of glasses on like Wednesday. Unintentionally, I think I just got like I had taken them off and I had laid down, I think, to take a nap or something, and I just kind of accidentally rolled over on them. And I've lost a lot of weight from what I used to weigh, but I'm still not exactly a small person, so. 220, 230-ish pounds, about 6'3", is my height. So, like I said, I don't know why my height matters when it comes to rolling over my glasses. It really doesn't. But point being, I did not want to break my second pair because I only have the 2 pair. And I don't really want to have to go back to the optometrist to say, hey, I just, broke my glasses. Maybe they'd fix them or maybe not. I don't know. So we are just 9 days away now on Serdaz and the Bailiff. Again, currently 4.83%. We'll probably have to wait for the ability to become fully, employed to see the entire benefit. But I am curious to see what that benefit's going to be. We are up to 2.02 ducats currently. And we have our bailiff built. Now, I don't expect a big change just by the time we get into September because it was built so late in August. I mean, it'd be nice, but I don't expect that. Lost a tiny bit of money. Let's see, did it change? No, I did not change at all. Okay. I have horses. Okay, we have fiber crops here, +2 food, and local food, +24.63 overall. Now, what I'm going to try to do here in the low is okay, so the settlement just represents the basics, new settlement basics such as stores, basic construction support, trade posts to encourage migrants to the location. Okay. Okay, irrigation, population capacity +1,000, food production +5%. 250 peasants. And they give me food production capacity +5%. So we can't build one on the low, which is interesting. Interesting that we could have built one there. I wonder why. But that is interesting. So again, we are trying to get into 30-57, both, well, one, to get the 2 years, but also so that all of our children will be adults. Still don't know exactly what I'm going to do with the younger son. The eldest son's obviously part of the cabinet currently. Do we put the younger son as a member of the cabinet? Do we try to have him take the vows? Do we let him get married? Those are the questions I'm going to have to try to figure out. It's still 4.83%. Okay, although to be fair, we only have 9 soldiers in Serdaz. So there is that. Good government policies. There's widespread support among the Chop-So-Chalacta for current policies. Indeed, they're being magnified will be out their actual efficiency as proof of government's goodwill and interest in the welfare of our kingdom. Gain 7 stability, invest in government, gain 10 legitimacy, or fill our treasury. We'll take this stability. Definitely will take this stability. To me, that's not even a question, right? Especially since our stability is so low. But I'm glad that the peasants and the nobles agree on something. Got up to 120 opinion now between ourselves and the Kingdom of Hungary. And, and again, like obviously, I'm not terribly surprised that it did take a while for the bailiff to kind of get going here in Sir Daz. Although I did want to hopefully see a little bit of no improvement there in terms of the proximity to the capital. We did get up to a little bit over 10. Ducats like up to 10.14, I think it was, when I got excited. So I was just like, oh, maybe that improved, but no, it didn't. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Today is the 22nd of November. Sorry, I was trying to stretch my legs there. Kind of getting older kind of sucks. So, if the bailiff works, we'll continue to try to build the bailiff. We might continue to try to build some roads. We'll probably build some more economic buildings here the episode after this one. I was just going to try to see out how does the purchasing the food work, how does the bailiff work, building of the temple, though we can't build the temple in the countryside, and then most of our 3 towns that we currently have actually already do have temples, so that was kind of a waste. And then we're trying to restrict the insurgency in northern Poland, with our son, while we are also building up a spy network in the Teutonic Order. So, like, I'm not saying I want the king to die, but at the same time, we've played, this is going to be 57, 20 years? I think 20 years with the Kingdom of Hungary, right? 1337, 1357. Yeah, 20 years. Like, they just took off running. And that is some interesting stuff right there. Glory for the PS. Scholars have discovered ancient documents tracing the heritage of the PS dynasty back to Julius Caesar himself. We'll take the prestige for that one, as opposed to legitimacy. One more month. Still has not changed at all. to be fair, we still have just 20 out of 200 people. And then, like I said, like I don't think we have soldiers anywhere. So you have 1,763 positive food is the overall stockpile of food in the country of Poland. So again, food itself is not a problem. It was a problem in our capital region, which we have now addressed, but I mean, in a way, I like the mechanic. It's a little annoying that I have to say, hey, let's go purchase some food here, but I kind of get the mechanic at the same time. And we are here. Civil PS has reached the age of 16. We're throwing him a party. Was it his birthday in January? Apparently not. Yeah, January 1st, 1341. So we're a little bit early. You know, a little bit early in terms of him coming of age, but he will be of age very, very quickly. I'm going to continue watching the videos about what buildings may benefit us more. How to make this part of the save a little bit more interesting. We are fabricating a claim against the Teutonic Order, though, which will lead to a second war. Thank you, everybody, for your time today. I'll try to do better in the future. And take care of yourselves. Bye. Well, can't say bye yet, right? It's still 1356. Alright, so he's a Sun Courtier. Doesn't look like anybody will accept to marry him. Okay. That's a little disappointing. But anyway, we do have up over 500 ducats as well. Thank you for your time today. Now I will tell you goodbye and take care of yourselves. And I'll talk to you all later.